All right, we in this thing. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? It's been too long, bro.
It's been forever, dog. How you feeling?
I got an echo.
You got an echo? It might be my microphone.
I had your stream open somewhere. I got it.
Okay, cool.
My bad. I was wondering why that intro sounded so weird.
Hey, man, that intro is baller, bro.
It is. It's good. It's good.
But
man, I've been paying attention to your streams lately, and you've been fighting for your life over there, bro.
Listen, I ain't fighting no more. I'm done. Because apparently it's illegal to be up under a tent. So I don't want to be up under a tent no more.
Oh no.
I'm done hanging up under tents, man. So how you been, man? What you been up to?
Well, pretty good. We've been covering this bricks and minifigs drama lately, and getting really into the rabbit holes there. That's crazy. A bunch of police corruption down there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back into the swing of things because what I've been seeing lately that everybody has been weighing in on is pretty much more been on a political side instead of just focusing on the legality of things and really just painting narratives around things. So I'm happy you brought this to me because I really have been wondering. I've been seeing everybody talk about this KarenRead thing and this Turtle Boy thing, but I don't know too much about it. Can you bring me up to speed? Bring us all.
I would love to, bro.
Okay.
I would love to. So this is kind of a convoluted story how we got to this point, right? And it all started based around the KarenRead charges. She was charged with ending the life of her police officer boyfriend by hitting him with a car, supposedly. He was found in the front yard of another police officer's house. Okay. There was no investigation done that, in my opinion, anyway, there was very little done. They never checked the house. They never checked any of the people at the party in the house. They just took all their word as gospel because they were mostly cops and feds. And they charged KarenRead. There's a character named Turtle Boy that enters the chat at this point. He sees what this is. He sees how corrupt this investigation is and how clearly bullshit the charges were against KarenRead. So Turtle Boy starts making a big deal out of it. He starts making noise. He starts getting people to pay attention, and he gets a lot of people to pay attention. Okay. They end up charging Turtle Boy with like witness intimidation, essentially. Just for being a journalist, just for asking questions and making noise. He got one charge, I believe. I don't remember if it got dismissed or not anymore, but he got a charge for being on a surveillance camera to a closed business. They said that was witness intimidation.
How?
Bro, it's because it
doesn't make sense.
They're trying to silence him. They're trying to shut him up. And right now he's got a 90-year sentence looming over his head for free speech issues.
Okay.
That's why Turtle Boy is so hot right now. That's why everybody knows who Turtle Boy is and so many people are covering it, because it matters for us, right? As YouTube content creators, journalists, whatever you want to call us, it affects us, what they're doing to this man.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes down to the First Amendment, I know a lot of people like to really throw that around, right? I'm a big believer in the First Amendment because I'm a true believer in the Second Amendment. Now, what you do as a journalist, there is some integrity that you have to have, but I'm always of the question, why was this a political charge? Like, was it a politically driven like type of charge that they brought against him? Because if he's just out here telling what he's seeing and he's reporting on it, what was the problem?
Well, to play devil's advocate, he can come off as an ass, right? Like, I love Turtle Boy personally. I get along with him fine. We've done a couple streams together. I like the man, but he's pretty tenacious, right? Like, once he's got this story, he ain't stopping, and he's been just constantly putting out how they're messed up and how KarenRead didn't kill O'Keefe and how the people in the house did, right? And he's got some pretty good viewpoints on it, I guess we should say.
So would you say he's asking all the right questions just to the wrong people?
No. I think he's asking the right questions every way he can, and the government in Norfolk County is desperately trying to shut him up. That's what I think.
Okay, got you. So
they put him in jail for like 30 days.
Okay. Did they ransack his house?
I can't remember if they served a search warrant at his house or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
They've just been messing with them and messing with them and messing with them. And 90 years is a long damn time for telling people to tell the truth.
I mean, well, Carmelo got 35, but anyway, I mean, Casey Allison got 10. So, a virtual juror says he was in jail for 60 days.
60 days, was it?
Yeah.
I believe that. My bad. I'm going to get some of the details wrong, you guys. I'm going to get some of the details wrong. As long as we get the basic story out there, that's what we're looking for right now.
That's what happens when we're on the outside looking in. We could just have a grand perception of what it is that we coming across. Stupid April says he's exposing the corruption, and the corrupt cops don't want him to mess up the situation. Absolutely. And anytime you get to messing with a dirty ring of dirty cops, you're always going to, you say they, Jen says they did ransack his house.
See? I believe it. Yeah, probably because they were probably looking for, they were looking for all of his electronics, right? They took his computer and stuff.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, they searched his house for any and all communication devices, notes, etc. Yeah, so they knew he was on to something, right? And that's one thing I love about journalism. When you're on to something, I really appreciate journalists who don't just let go. Once they sink their teeth in, they own that shit. So, all right. So where are we at right now?
So right now, it's I think a year and a day since KarenRead was found not guilty. Right. So KarenRead's criminal case has been over for a year. They're still going after Turtle Boy. And because of all the craziness involved in this specific situation, everybody's suing each other. Right. So like the O'Keefes are suing KarenRead, I think, for wrongful death. The House defendants are suing KarenRead and maybe Turtle Boy for defamation. Like, it's just nuts. Everybody's suing everybody. But the thing that we're getting out of all these lawsuits are some of the text messages that were in Proctor's phone, former Trooper Proctor.
Okay.
He was a Massachusetts state police officer. I think he was a sergeant. He might not have been a sergeant. Maybe not. He was just a trooper. But he was in charge of the investigation of the KarenRead stuff. Right. And he was a big part in all this. They got his discovery in his phone, and we're getting some of the correspondences, shall we say, from his phone leaking to the public now because they're in these civil court documents.
I love discovery.
Bro.
I love discovery.
This is one of the most vile human beings I've ever encountered. Like, these messages are absolutely disgusting. And I know people have been over there on that Carmelo Anthony racism tour bus, shall we say.
Yeah.
And I was getting pretty angry in your chat the other day. I was getting real upset about it.
Absolutely.
And I decided that it was time to show y'all some real racism. That's what
there you go. There you
That's
go.
exactly what I decided.
Okay, cool. So today we're not just, but we're really just taking a deeper look at to what actual racism looks like. Because a lot of people are on the fence of what is racism, what's not racist, and all this, that, and the other. And by the way, salute to everybody in the chat. Happy Father's Day to each and every last one of y'all. Make sure y'all like the stream. Make sure y'all support the stream by sharing it out. A lot of people think that likes is what really gets you into the algorithm. It's the engagement in the chat. So as long as y'all keeping the conversation moving in the chat, I see a lot of people in the chat. They're offering information. They're adding to the conversation. Make sure y'all engage and participate in that as well. Greatly appreciate that.
And that is one great thing about this is people in chat know this stuff, and they're going to help us get through the minutia, I think.
Most definitely. So do you want to start with your presentation, or do you just want to where do we want to go with this?
Well, so what I've got that we're going to look at a little bit today is the newest it's not even connected to any of those cases. So so Trooper Proctor's phones, former Trooper Proctor, he was a Massachusetts state cop, so he was involved in a lot of shit, right? Like he was, as far as like his cases, his investigation or whatever. These messages are so vile, y'all, that it draws every single case he's ever worked on into question at this point.
Yeah,
because he is clearly biased against Black people, clearly biased against minorities of pretty much every kind, clearly biased against women. He is the vilest of the vile.
So he hates everybody equally,
well, except for white men, apparently. He likes white men.
Okay.
No, because he's got messages and images in his phone of essaying his girlfriends behind his wife's back and stuff.
Damn. Okay.
Disgusting.
Now, that's not in discovery though, is it? That's not in the document, is it? I don't want to get us terminated.
I mean, no, I don't think we got that image exactly. Okay, cool. I don't know. It might be in here.
Hey, well, if this is my last day on YouTube, right? you monetize, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, make sure y'all hit the super chats on his end. And if this is gonna be my last day on YouTube, then hey, by all means, if you like to support the show, you have 3 different ways you can do it. You could do Cash App, you could do Venmo, you could do PayPal. If you need the links, just let me know. I'll just, it's been a fun ride on YouTube. I'll just create another page. All right, so let's get
through real quick.
Okay, yeah, scroll through right quick because I like my YouTube page. I've grown like a little bit of a following, but listen, if this is my last day, it is what it is. Virtual Juror says the language is the issue you'll run into. The pictures aren't that bad. I mean, they're bad.
Luckily for us, I should say, Will's going to be saying most of language, and now we don't have to worry about
that. Oh, so that's why you wanted my black ass to do this, so I can say nigga. Hey, you know what that remind me of? The angry interpreter from Obama. Every time he wanted to say some shit, he just deferred to him. Got you. No problem. Bet. All right, so they said that there's not no crazy pictures in here. You want to go get you said the pics are horrible, they won't get the stream taken down. All right, cool, bet.
Yeah, the pics are horrible that are in here. The copy I have is like a photocopy, so the pictures don't really show up the best. But we can talk our way around that.
Okay.
All right, where are we at here?
Java says Turtle Boy isn't for everyone, but he's a great journalist. I love his style, old school journalism. Look into the case.
Facts. Yeah, he's he can rub people the wrong way a lot, especially if you've got a thin skin, I guess. But yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing at what he does. He basically single-handedly brought this KarenRead case to the height that it got. Is impressive in itself.
That reminds me of Sarah Fields on the Carmelo Anthony case. She's the one that really put it out there and brought it to the magnitude that it is as far as the information. Now, the racial angle, that was just people jumping in the way and just trying to introduce that this is about a black boy up under the oppression of Frisco, Texas, which is supposed to be a racist place. But my thing is just like remove race from it and let's just deal with the facts. And people just can't do that. All right, you ready for me to pull it up?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. I gotta stop sharing this screen, pull this screen up. And if those of you, think this will be the best way to do it if we do it like this, because we're going to be reading from the top down anyway. Let's do it this way. All right, let's do it this way.
All right. Absolutely. So this is a separate case. This is the Miles King case. And I haven't looked into this case a whole lot. He was charged with, I think, first degree ending the life. I think it might not have been first degree, but it was definitely an ending of the life charge, right?
Okay.
And then he posted a $10,000 bond and got out. And then while he was out, the feds picked him up in some kind of a drug thing.
Drug scheme. Got you.
Yeah. So I don't know the exact charge there either. But, you know, the feds, when they pick you up, they've got something like a 98% conviction rate. Like, they're not picking you up if they don't got the evidence on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If the feds got you, they got you for something. Nah.
Yeah.
They tried Diddy for RICO, but they couldn't prove RICO. But you know.
No. So this is the Miles King, the newest motion in the Miles King case. I read a little bit about the facts of the life ending earlier today, and basically, I think his name is Marquise Simmons.
Okay, I
believe it's the victim's name. He basically rode up on like a moped, got off the moped, and then Miles King allegedly shot him in the chest and ended his life. The Miles King's lawyer is Scapiccio. What's her first name, y'all? What's Scapicio's first name? I can't remember off the top of my head. But she is a bulldog. We love her to death. She is an amazing lawyer. Okay. She's representing Miles King, and because she's a good lawyer, she has put in several of Trooper Proctor's text messages. Rosemary, thank you. Thank you, Jen. Rosemary Scapiccio. So she's put in several of the text messages between Proctor and a Sergeant Good, who is also a trooper. I think he's a cop somewhere. He quit, by the way. He resigned 2 days before this stuff started coming out. He knew it was coming. He resigned, and then they decertified him just the other day, so he can never be a cop again either. Which is perfectly good in my opinion. Okay. That is a benefit for all in Massachusetts and, for that matter, across the country.
Got you.
So do we want to get into the Miles King case itself, or do we just want to go straight to the messages?
I think the Miles King set up the reason why the messages is being introduced.
Did we do that already, you think?
On August 14th, 2025, King filed the supplemental motion to dismiss for egregious government misconduct, which discussed the Commonwealth's disclosures and violations up until notice of discovery, 34 on August 6, 2025. Since the August 14, 2025 filing, the Commonwealth has made 7 additional discovery disclosures, including the October 30th, 2025 first Proctor phone disclosure and November 20th, 2025 second Proctor phone disclosure as well. Scroll up a little bit so I can read. These recent disclosures demonstrate egregious misconduct on the part of the Commonwealth. Proctor's texts and photographs reveal such deep-seated and atrocious racial and animosity that infected the entire investigation in violation of King's rights under the 6th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution and Article 12 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, such that dismissal is required. Skip past the...
Rosemary Scapiccio is saying that his views and statements in these text messages are so atrocious that you should let this drug-dealing murderer out of jail and free to go about his business. The problem is she might be right. So Proctor's disgustingness might actually put a murderer back out on the street to deal more fentanyl.
So we're going to have more George Floyds. I couldn't let it slip. You can never let it slip.
I'm glad somebody said it. King incorporates the arguments in his original motion to dismiss, filed May 28, 2025, and his first supplemental motion to dismiss, filed August 14th, 2025, attached. The Proctor materials disclosed on October 30th and November 20th do not stand alone. They constitute another layer in the cumulative pattern of egregious government misconduct and already pleaded in King's first supplemental motion to dismiss, and they must be evaluated together with the discovery violations. Withheld exculpatory evidence and grand jury irregularities documented there. See Kyles v. Whitley, cumulative evaluation required, blah, 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 blah. Procedural history of Proctor's personal cell phone. On April 14th, 2025, King filed defendant supplemental motion for discovery relating to ex-Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor and his associates and supervisors. I couldn't figure out what that P was for a hot minute.
It happens, bro.
King specifically requested Proctor's personal cell phone from the dates of this indictment to his firing. One. On April 24th, 2025, King filed a motion to preserve and produce Proctor's cell phone records, including Proctor's personal phone. That same day, the court, Judge Doolin, ordered the preservation of Trooper Proctor's personal and work phones.
Okay.
June 17th, 25, Judge Doolin allowed King's motion to preserve and produce cell phone records for Proctor's personal cell phone. As to the communications, including the content, call durations, times, and numbers involved on former state trooper Michael Proctor's personal cell phone from the date of the charged murder, July 10th, 2021, to the date of the indictments, November 19th, 2021. The Commonwealth shall promptly produce any other data from Proctor's personal cell phone that constitutes investigative material or is favorable to the defense within the meaning of Massachusetts R.
Current page, paragraph 14.
There you go.
Yep.
Decision at 6. On July 25th, 25, Proctor filed third-party Michael Proctor's motion for clarification of court's memorandum and order dated June 17th, 2025, and for a protective order on August 13th, 25. This court, Judge Krupp, issued an order clarifying order regarding examination of former state police trooper Michael Proctor's cell phone. The court ordered by August 25th, Proctor shall provide his personal cell phone to the Commonwealth and disclose the carriers for this personal cell phone to the Commonwealth as required at page 7 of the initial order. The court further ordered that the Commonwealth shall extract a full digital copy of all the data on the cell phone, maintain a copy, shall provide a copy of the extraction to Proctor's counsel, and shall return the cell phone to Proctor. I bet he don't want it back.
I wouldn't want that damn thing back. I mean, listen, I wouldn't even want to claim it. Like if you got all my personal, you got pictures and you got text messages. My name ain't Michael Proctor no more. I'm sorry.
He was supposed to be at a hearing the other day and didn't show up. Apparently, he's in rehab or some facility or something. They're being,
of course,
about it. Yeah,
anything to dodge to get up out of court.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On October 16th, the Commonwealth filed a notice of discoverable information under Massachusetts R. Crim and motion for additional time to complete review of former state police trooper's cell phone. On October 30th, 25, the Commonwealth disclosed the first batch of Proctor's personal phone materials to King. This disclosure contains some of the most heinous, racist, and disturbing conversations the council has seen in over 30 years of practice as a criminal defense attorney. And I would agree.
Well, I've seen some racist shit before in my life. I've seen racist text messages. I've seen racist images. I don't know. It depends on what it is. It might surprise me or it might not surprise me. So let's see.
We'll get it. Well,
it's bad. Is that bad?
Bad, bro.
Bad. Okay.
So this is only I think this is the third drop. There's 2 other drops of cell phone stuff. So there's 2 other like bundles of this nastiness.
Okay.
On November 20th, 25, the Commonwealth disclosed the second batch of Proctor's personal phone material to King. This disclosure contained both disturbing text messages and racist photographs that no person, never mind a sworn officer of the law, should generate, share, and celebrate. The disclosed text and photographs. Examples of text messages sent by Proctor to the group chat include... Oh
shit, I got it. My turn. And I quote, "This double standard / reverse racism that niggers get away with absolutely infuriates me. God damn." He used the hard ER too. God damn. Bro. Detroit. Bitch, hold on. Time out. I'm from Detroit. Hold up. Wait a minute. I'm born and raised in Detroit. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I got Detroit everywhere. I got Detroit on my hat. I'm born and raised. What this bitch ass motherfucker say about Detroit? Hold up. Detroit should be destroyed along with the places like Flint, Michigan. There are breeding grounds for niggers to run wild. First of all, fucking Flint is not even the breeding ground for niggas. Let's go ahead and get that straight. All right. I'm glad you brought this motherfucking shit to me. First of all, motherfucking west side and east side of Detroit. All right. West 7 Mile, east 7 Mile. You got, listen, this motherfucker said Flint. It's just all they got is dirty water. All right. What else he say? He said 9 whitey people and 3 Negroes on the jury. God damn. I was planning on tying a nigger up and dragging him from my bumper through the streets of Randolph. Fuck.
This is a cop, y'all. This is a state trooper.
This is a straight trooper talking like this? Oh.
He was a state trooper when he sent these messages.
He said, you see a nigger, just kill it. Yo. Well, Poppy Smurf, what's going on? I see my wife is in the chat. What's going on? Hey, listen, she about to get banned. She said, oh my God, nobody cares about Detroit. You about to get banned and divorced. All right, what else he got? He said, you see a nigger, just kill it. Ha ha ha. Cookie, let's get some horses and white sheets and burn the cross in the arboretum. Jesus. Okay. Hope she gets graped in the ass by a gang of 300-pound niggers. God damn, dog. What the fuck?
I told you, bro.
Hey, nigger, go fetch Sir Bear his wings and pizza.
Bear is a nickname of Trooper Proctor.
Bears. I mean, I hope he know that Bears is a tagline for gay corn, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I am up. Just got some nignog pulled over who was unlicensed and debating arresting or giving him a summons. Hey, baby.
Nobody care about the.
I'm gonna beat your ass. He says, I will never see a movie anywhere else. No niggers, obnoxious kinds, and ample rooms to spread out and float some AI biscuits. Jesus. Ha 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 ha. Michael, we could use them niggers as dartboards. See, I gotta pause for a second. I'm not surprised. I'm more so just elated that y'all always want to see what real racism looks like and how everyone says that, oh, well, the system is racist. I wouldn't say that the whole entire system. I say it's the people that's in the system that's racist as fuck. And from what I'm reading so far, this motherfucker is racist as shit.
Oh, it gets so much worse, bro.
It gets worse? Okay. He says it should be a punch a nigger day in Canton today out of retribution. Any shine you see, blasted in the face. So shine is an old word. That's an old racist terminology.
He went historic with his racism, bro.
Absolutely. Well, niggas smell regardless. So he switched from the ER, he went to the A. So niggas smell regardless. Jesus. Oh, it's more. All right. The first phone call that kid will make when a fellow nigger broke into his house or car is to the cops. Pendy, I don't know who Pendy is. Pendy, I haven't shot anyone, but I did pull a nigger over today for tossing a cigarette out the window. God damn. Eat a dick, Ghana. Let's enslave those. Fuck. Let's enslave those niggers. My car needs a cleaning. Oh, great. Now the niggers have a straight pipeline to Canton. Jesus. 2 park rangers stabbed in Boston Common. Has to be the work of a nigger. First of all, he's in Massachusetts, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. What up, MLS? I see you in the chat. What else? Which is bullshit that these nigger animals resort to that. I'd rather a coon. I got to stop right there for a second. So, let me bring this down for a second. So I'm glad that now this is one thing I like about racism. I'm glad when racial terms are used in the correct way. I'm going to ask you, Val, do you know what a coon is? Do you know what the historical terminology of what a coon is?
I don't actually. I know it's a derogatory term. I don't know
Absolutely.
Where it originates from, though.
The term coon is for a black person that does not like white people. The way that black people use it today, they use it as a derogatory term to go against other black people who they think is siding with white people. So I'm glad that Proctor used the correct terminology for the word coon. I'd rather a coon. I just shoot the nigga or scare him off by telling him he has to work. Shout out to MLS making law simple with the $20 super chat. He says, since the stream is absolutely going to get demonetized, big facts. Okay.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
huge facts. And also shout out to Cresty Ovian. I'm sorry, Cresty. I'm gonna just say Cresty. With $10, she says yes. There were at least 2 releases of text and KarenRead cases. Those 2 also highlighted his anti-Semitism, misogynist preferences for backdoor sex play. He's one of the worst in Toledo, Ohio, to Detroit. Hey, shout out to you. Appreciate you. What's going on, Nidus? I see you in the chat. Oh, it's so all right. So I'm glad that you did. I'm glad you did bring this to me because I can give you a little bit of background and historical fact on what some of these terms is. And also, let me just say this as well. He's using nigger, N-I-G-G-E-R. That is the original racist term. He's using nigga because that is pretty much what, and I don't like that we as black people say it. We should stop saying it, but it's more of a colloquialism. Like if I say to another black person, what's up, my nigga? I'm not saying it in a negative way. But if I say, man, what's up, nigga? Nah, it's different because nah, it's almost like a threat. You see what I'm saying? So that lets you know that he has been around some people that he felt comfortable using this. He texted this. He ain't just using ER. He using A too. So he said, I'd rather a coon, I just shoot the nigga or scare him off by telling him he has to work. That was on 10/1/18. Kenner, these niggas are holding signs for you at the All-Star game. Examples of text that Proctor received from other members of the WhatsApp group include, okay, so they was using WhatsApp. They was trying to remain anonymous, but for those of you that's using all of these different texting platforms, you're not going to be able to remain anonymous. All of that data can be retrieved. All right, ape economics. More racist terminology. A financial system run by niggers by which a prosperous nation is converted into a cesspool of poverty and misery. Kevin Foley, a racist.
Kevin Foley sent that to Triple Proctor.
Yeah, racist. I wouldn't police the black neighborhoods. Honestly, let them do it themselves. So that goes back to let black people kill and destroy other black people. That goes back to can't remember the name of those the Willie Lynch letters. Why go in and devise a grandest plan to destroy black people when you could just let them destroy themselves? In response to the above, Kevin Foley stated, "Let them kill each other." My question: what country treats blacks as well as America? What country offers them a better quality of life? Even 3-year-old niggas are terrible humans. God damn. Shoot a spook. Okay, a spook is a racial terminology that has historical background. Spook is also a racist thing for black people. Super. This is why I hate spooks, and we should send them all to an island to kill each other. Larry Kennedy. Kevin Foley says, I hate niggers. Proctor says, go get the nigger and string him up. What kind of assholes stabbed 2 park rangers? They just want to protect the trees. They just want to protect the trees. God damn. All right. Rocket nigger.
You ain't supposed to laugh, bro.
I laugh. I need you to know I love racism because now I don't need to know. I don't need to guess who you are, right?
Right.
When you show me you're a racist, I appreciate it because I'm like, okay, well, I know you're a racist piece of shit. All right, so he says, rocket nigger, a nigger attached to a rocket who flies around stealing stuff like cars, basketballs, fried chicken, and people's legs. That don't even make sense, but okay. He says niggers will rot no matter what the outcome is. To which Proctor responded, whatever the course of action is, these niggers will riot. Okay, I read that wrong. Niggers will riot no matter what the outcome is. To which Proctor responded, whatever the course of action is, these niggers will riot. Then he says, let the sand niggers kill each other. So he's talking about Arab people and those of Palestinian descent, anybody that comes from overseas.
You know what? Actually, as a dude that's been to Iraq twice,
yeah,
I don't use those words like that. That's not even in my vocabulary.
Well, that's because you're not racist. If you was a racist, then you would use those vocabularies, right? Or you would even try to use them synonymously. Like people try to hide behind their racism by using colloquialized terms. So then he says, fight a nigger in all white. White don't win. We all jump in. Hashtag die nigger day. God damn. So they was talking about jumping niggas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We got some more.
Proctor also had offensive photographs on his phone. A few examples include, you ready for this, y'all?
Yeah. Okay, let me solo out the screen. All right, so this is a very old photo. And I hate to even know what this photo is, but this is a very old photo. Do you know what barbecue is?
Like the cooking?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so do you know where it comes from?
I will not entirely know.
Barbecuing is an old racist thing that they used to do. What they used to do is they used to drive around in trucks and they would go pick up black people and they would beat them, they would torture them, they would hang them, and they would put the children in cages. And all the time while this was going on, they would be having a picnic. It was also called a picnic, also known as pick a nigga, pick niggas. That's what it was called. So this particular picture, which is basically them having this little girl in a cage and little white girls on each side, they basically treating her like an animal. And more than likely, if you see the zoomed out version of this picture, is you're going to see her parents swinging from a tree. And the things that they would do to this baby is ridiculous. I'm gonna leave it at that to protect both of our channels right now. So yeah, they would do things to the little girls and they would chop off the parts of the little boys. So yeah. All right, what other pictures we got? Damn. Jesus Christ.
This is hard to see, but it says if it's brown, flush it down, and there's a black kid in the toilet. I don't know if you can see that or not. Because
yeah, it's a black kid in the toilet. It's an old racist thing. I ain't worried about that. That's an old meme. This shirt is allowed to say nigger because it's black.
Now we're getting some of these. We're getting into like meme territory. So take, however you feel about it, you feel about it, I guess. But
he says, why don't
go ahead.
Why don't black people get sunburned? Because prisons are indoors. That's fucking crazy.
That's fucked up.
That is pretty fucked up. That's pretty fucked up.
These are only snippets of the derogatory language and offensive photographs that Proctor and his associates use consistently in their group chat from 2013 until 2023. Michael Proctor was lead investigator in the Miles King case. Proctor was on the scene the day the homicide occurred on July 10th, 21. Proctor authored all 6 search warrants in King's case, coordinated video canvases, reviewed video evidence, directed other investigators in King's case to obtain Simmons's property from BMC, and went to BMC himself to try to obtain the property. What the hell is BMC?
I don't know what BMC is, but someone had a question in the chat. Where is it? Helen says picnic comes from pick a nigger. Is that really true? Yes. So during the Jim Crow era, judicial lynchings of Black Americans were often treated as festive public community gatherings by white citizens. These spectacle lynchings frequently featured picnic-like atmospheres where large crowds cheered, ate food, and posed for photographs, and even collected souvenirs. Because of this tragic reality, some people find that the word picnic often comes from those times during the Jim Crow era, using also terms like cookout or barbecue instead. So yeah, you can go look it up in the I would call it the racist museum, but that's just what it is. All right, so I don't know what BMC is though.
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Case to obtain Simmons' property from so BMC's got to be Boston Municipal. I don't know.
Whatever. All right.
Yeah. Even in the discovery documents provided, Proctor is listed as the investigator assigned to the King case. Proctor interviewed many witnesses in this case, including Kristen Lacasse, firefighter Brian Feeney, Ryan Mitchell, paramedic, Vanessa Carter on July 21st, 2021, with Milton Police Detective Mark Kimildoro. Oh, Jesus Christ, what are these names? Avani Dorset on July 30th, 2021, with Milton Police Detective Mark Kimildoro. Hasnan Akram, on August 24th, 21, with Milton Police Detective Lieutenant Michael Collins. Dion Knight, with Milton Police Detective Sergeant Kirsten Murphy. Darrell McElroy on September 7th with Milton Police Detective Kristen Murphy, Michael Johnson, Milton Police Detective Mark, that guy. On September 2nd, 2021, Proctor received a picture from Kevin Foley in his WhatsApp that said, going from Cam Newton to Mac Jones is like driving through Mattapan Square and entering Milton, which Proctor responded with, that's great and accurate. Proctor testified at the grand jury in King's case on September 30th, 21 regarding the investigation, the timeline, interviews he had conducted, and evidence he had reviewed. Proctor provided reports and updates to ADA Lally. God, I hate that guy. And coordinated witness materials for the grand jury. Proctor worked with Milton PD on joint interviews and follow-up communications with witnesses. In sum, Proctor had a hand in almost every aspect of the investigation and in formulating the case against King. As such, this entire investigation is flawed.
Also, they said that BMC equals Boston Medical Center.
Medical Center. Thank you.
Boston Municipal Center. One of the two. I don't know. Also, we got a super chat from 3 Man Podcast. He says, with $5, this diabolical ish, support the live because YouTube monetization has left the chat. Greatly appreciate
you. Thank you so much, y'all.
All right.
This court has the power to dismiss King's case. With that, he's got a pretty good chance at some form of dismissal here. Like it's a good argument by Rosemary. It's all based on Proctor being a piece of shit. Like the whole thing.
Because now you have to call into question the integrity of not just this case, but previous cases and how it is that they've been handled. I can't remember which case that was, but someone's cases got overturned because of how it is that they were pretty much participating in their personal lives and their language and their dialogue. The thing is, though, is that enough to really get this case or other cases overturned? I think you would need more evidence other than just him being a bad person. Now, all based on his judgment and how it is that he used the law. That could be one thing. It's never the way it goes in court, and we all know this. It's never about what you know. It's about
what you can prove.
What you can prove. There it is. Thank you. All right. So, what we got next? So, this court has the power to dismiss King's case. In the case of first impression in this Commonwealth, King moves to dismiss the charges against him on the bias that the lead investigator of his case held views so fundamentally racist and opposed to him as a black man that the entire investigation was tainted by the lead investigator's bias, and that no action save dismissal will be enough to clear that taint. Well, that's true, right? So it all depends on how you argue that. Because if this is the person that was leading the investigation against you and they're completely 100% racist, then how you now have to call into question everything that they did to you as a black person, right? So yeah, I can see how that argument may work. Yeah, that's pretty damning. Okay. In the alternative, King requests that this court dismiss the charges against King based on Proctor's egregious misconduct to create a climate adverse to repetition of that misconduct that would not otherwise exist. And he also brings case law too. Finally, King requests an evidentiary hearing on King's motion to dismiss to further develop whether Proctor's racial bias was known and or shared by any other member of the prosecution team. And because King has shown an inference of racial bias in Proctor's investigation of King and an abuse of government power in violation of the Equal Protection Clause. That's a fair argument as well, because if other people knew of his racism or they knew of his dialogue, his behavior, then now you have to call and not just question him, but everybody else. That's a fair argument to make.
Surprise, they knew.
Oh, so they knew.
They knew.
So then, all right, so now you got to call in the question. Is it not just him and this small group of people? Because now it seems like if there's a mass group of people that know he's racist, are they racist as well? Were they afraid of him? Did he intimidate them? Did he try to blackmail them? Or are they equally racist along with him? And from the text message with Kevin Foley and what was the other guy's name? Apparently, you got more than one person that's racist as fuck against black people, and they fucked this case up.
He ain't even the only cop, bro.
Okay.
Sergeant Good. He gets mentioned in here. He's part of this stuff, and he's no longer a cop, like I said earlier.
Got you.
The lead investigator's racism constitutes egregious government misconduct that tainted every aspect of the investigation, such that King can never have a fair trial. a standard for dismissal based on egregious government misconduct. Massachusetts courts have recognized that dismissal of an indictment may be necessary when the government's conduct is so egregious as to prejudice the defendant's right to a fair trial. Commonwealth versus yada yada. Proctor is a member of the prosecution team and a lead investigator in this case. Police conduct may be found egregious where it involves coercion, violence, or brutality, persistent exploitation of personal weaknesses, or where it is shocking, outrageous, or clearly intolerable. And I think that suits exactly what we're talking about here at the moment.
Perfect. J-Pen with a $20 super chat says, review all the cases Proctor's nasty paws touched. That's a big thing. We probably need to do that. Now we got to call into question.
Like 13 years or something, man. You know how many black people he put in prison?
Based on his prejudice and his racism, I can only imagine a lot, especially if he was specifically targeting black people.
In cases alleging egregious government conduct, the focus is not on the propensities and predisposition of a specific defendant, but on whether the police conduct revealed in the particular case falls below standards to which common feelings respond for the proper use of governmental power. Under this approach, the determination of the lawfulness of the government's conduct must be made, as it is on all questions involving the legality of law enforcement methods, by the trial judge, not the jury.
Really quick while you pull up the next paragraph. Helen with €5 says, thank you for your coverage. Learning a lot today. Most definitely. I got you.
Thank you so much.
All right. The due process
clause. Go ahead.
Oh, the due process clause protects certain immutable principles of justice, which inhere in the very ideal of free government. And in evaluating outrageous government misconduct, courts have emphasized that these criteria should not be rigidly applied, and the ultimate determination is whether the government's conduct was so shocking, outrageous, and clearly intolerable that due process is offended. That's a fact. If your prejudice outweighs me as a person in the due process, then I did not have a fair trial, and this investigation should be defunct and charges should be dropped. And Montegudo, I'm going to pronounce it like that, my bad. The Supreme Judicial Court addressed a defendant's claim that an undercover state trooper had engaged in egregious government misconduct by recruiting him into the drug trade, allegedly supplying money for a pager, directing him to locate a cocaine supplier, and threatening that his family was going to pay for it if he refused to cooperate, and selling cocaine to the trooper on 3 occasions thereafter. The court held that the question of outrageous government conduct is one of constitutional due process law reserved exclusively for the trial judge, not the jury. Let me read that again. The court held that the question of outrageous government conduct is one of the constitutional due process law reserved exclusively for the trial judge, not the jury. Okay, so a jury can't weigh in on it, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah. That's exactly
right.
It needs to be addressed before it ever gets in front of a jury, essentially.
Got you. Okay. Really quick before I read the next paragraph. Virtual Juror says, is it more disturbing that this is what they put in a filing, but knowing there are more like this is terrifying? Well, to answer that, the problem is you're never going to be able to remove prejudice. Everyone has some form of prejudice. Regardless if you know it or not, everyone has some form of prejudice. Racism is different, though. Now, you have multiple people who I've argued with, and I'm pretty sure other people have been in arguments about when it comes to racism. Racism is not just because it originally started out was racism is when you have power over another person or a group of people. But I always ask the question, can a homeless, drug addict, alcoholic white man be racist towards LeBron James? The answer is yes. He can be racist towards him. Even though LeBron James is rich and has multiple houses and all this, that, and the other, you can still be racist. That does not mean that just because he's broke that he can't. He can still be racist. You call him a nigga, call him a monkey, call him a tar baby, all of that shit. It does not also necessarily mean you have to have power over that person. Hey, I'm just telling you, like it's so many different things.
I never understood that when people tried to bring the power dynamic into racism, it has nothing to do with the power dynamic. It's just the skin color. Like it's the stupidest thing. I don't understand racism. You're hating somebody essentially based on where their parents lived in relation to the equator. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world to me. I don't understand.
It is. Well, that's when you have the victim mentality where a lot of people are stuck, right? Especially people of my color. A lot of people are stuck on the idea that white people are always racist towards black people. But then I raised the counter. Can black people be racist to black people? And the answer is yes. You have dark-skinned people who are racist towards light-skinned people. And that come from the old ways of how it is that it worked during the times of slavery, where you had the house nigga and the field nigga. Particularly the house nigga, he was lighter skin, lighter complexion, and the field nigga was dark as shit. So, and the evolution of it and how it is that after the Civil War and after the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, how things started to change, but then black people start becoming cannibalistic with their language towards each other. That's where we stop being a unit, and we stop being a pretty much our own community, and we start going against each other. Oh, so now I'm gonna use the racism that they used against us. I'm gonna use against you to make you feel some type of way. That's how that came to be. But in today's modern day, because of so many different blending and mixing of the communities and mixing of the language and of the culture, now it's just like we have what's the word that I'm looking for? Like when you desensitized, there it is. We have desensitized racist language because we turned everything into a colloquialism or euphemism of some time. So that's pretty much the biggest problem.
Listen,
what's up, baby?
Stop lying on the light skin delegation.
That's because you like him. Shut up. All right, let's get back to it.
I'm tired of this dark skin hate.
You tired of dark skin hate? Yeah, me too, because I'm dark skinned with your high yellow ass.
I'm not high yellow.
That's what you say.
I'm dark skin.
You dark skin? Welcome to the dark community, motherfucker. High five.
You're both darker than me.
Abuse.
He said we both darker than him. that's only, you're an Oreo, sir. That's only on the outside.
That's because it's not the full swing of summer.
There you go.
You go outside.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true. I might be darker than Raw B. About
it's a possibility. I'm telling you. All right. So the court articulated go ahead. You got it. It's your turn.
The court articulated the threshold that governs the defense. The challenged conduct must be shocking, outrageous, and clearly intolerable, which I think it wholeheartedly fits that category. Proctor's conduct is shocking, outrageous, and clearly intolerable. Proctor was the lead investigator in King's case and was involved from the day the homicide occurred. Proctor was on the scene immediately after the homicide. He interviewed witnesses, collected evidence, reviewed video footage, authored all 6 of the search warrants, and testified at the grand jury in King's case. In other words, Proctor had a hand in and guided the entire investigation. He did all of this while holding the beliefs that black people should be enslaved, that black people are animals, and that they should be killed.
Damn. Did we read? I think we already read these. Yeah, we already read those.
Yeah, I think we did. These are more examples that we already read.
Mm-hmm.
Soaked in his racial bias and hatred for black and brown defendants, Proctor investigated King, a black man, while holding the belief that all black people commit crimes, that black and brown people are not human, that they are
niggers
and deserving of punishment.
I got you. I got you. Don't worry. I got your back, bro. I got your back.
I love it. Proctor believed that locking up
niggers
made the community at large safer.
2 park rangers. Oh, we already read. 2 park rangers stabbed in Boston Common. Yeah, I already read that. Go ahead.
These racist views infected the entire investigation. This was not a search for the truth. It was a modern day lynching, in which inflicting pain and securing the confinement of black and brown people, whom Proctor referred to as
shines, niggers, poo people,
was not just accepted, but celebrated. Any prosecution infected with racial bias and hatred to the degree that Proctor expressed freely and celebrated about to his fellow conspirators is an improper use of government power in violation of King's rights under the 6th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution and Article 12 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights. If the celebration of the killing of black and brown people reference to black and brown people as objects, with the goal of making the white community safer by locking up black and brown people, is not shocking, outrageous, or clearly intolerable conduct of the type the court outlined in Montigudo, whatever, then it begs the question whether anything an officer does would cross that line.
That's a fact.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Explicit bias. Bias has many forms and many manifestations on the face of it. Explicit bias is the worst. When explicit intentional biases occur in the justice and legal systems, it is especially alarming as people can be wrongfully convicted, and conversely, guilty people can go free.
Yep.
The text and photographs sent and received by Michael Proctor on his personal phone can only be described as explicit bias against Black and brown people. In King's case, these communications demonstrate Proctor's explicit bias against Black people. This is the type of racial bias that the courts have categorized as evil, and that, if left unaddressed, would risk systemic injury to the administration of justice.
Really quick.
Wholeheartedly agree with.
Really quick. Prince of Wales, appreciate you for the $5. He says the ability to say the N-word is the second reason I wish to be Black. So let me say this. In truth, right? And I'm not setting any laws, nor am I saying any policies, nor am I saying any cultural things, right? When it comes down to the First Amendment, and a lot of people disagree with me when I say this, and I'm going to ask you, Val, is hate speech free speech?
There's no such thing as hate speech.
Okay.
There's no such thing as hate speech. You are allowed to say whatever you want to say.
Absolutely.
If you want to be vile and say this type of language, you have the absolute right to do it.
Absolutely.
But there's probably going to come
consequences. Exactly. So I was asked this question. If I came up, because one of my best friends, he's your complexion, but his dad is Black as fuck. He's blacker than me. Okay. His mom is Black as fuck too. It just so happens that his great grandfather was a pure white man. Okay.
Genetics do weird things, y'all.
Genetics do weird things. So when I'm hanging around my boy, because he came up in Detroit with me, even though he's your complexion, when people hear him say nigga, they be like, hey man, who the fuck you talking? I'll be like, hey bro, his parents is Black. And they be like, oh, okay, it's cool, but it's just weird. My thing is, you can say whatever you want. Like I've dealt with naturally racist people, even when I lived in Alabama. This motherfucker came up to me and my daughter. My daughter was I took her to the store, and when we was coming out the store, because my daughter, my daughter was developed for 16. Okay, these two white motherfuckers sitting on the side, hillbilly motherfuckers. They like, oh man, look at the motherfucking straps on that big some bitch right there. And I'm just like, baby, don't pay them no mind. And so then he kept on talking shit. And I looked, I said, hey bro, what the fuck is your problem? You know what I'm saying? And this guy was like, well, it's not my bad that you make good niggers. Okay, cool. So I tells my daughter, drive the car home, tell your mom, have the bail money, and then come pick me up from the police station. The thing is, anybody can say what they want. I don't care if someone calls me a nigga. You just don't have to care what I'm going to do to you afterwards, because I'm going to be smiling in my mud shots. And the same thing, this is one of the biggest problems that we had during the last administration. When people was trying to compel people's speech, I don't want anyone's speech to be compelled, because now if they don't have the ability to be themselves, you will never know who people are. Imagine a racist person having their speech compelled. You will never know that they're racist unless they slip up. So if people's going to be racist, let them be racist. I'd rather for people to talk and show your racism. That way I know how to deal with you. So if you call me a nigga or you call me a nigger, don't be mad about the teeth that you miss, and just pick them up off the ground and go to your local dentist. I'll be at the doctor. I'll be at the police station, and I'll take my charges. Right. So yeah, it's still free speech. And we'll move on with our day. KC Chrissy with $20 says, just showing support for the coverage. Greatly appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. What we got?
I think we're here. I think.
The rationale. All right. The rationale of Pina Rodriguez applies with equal or greater force to a lead investigator. The Supreme Court in Pina Rodriguez held that no impeachment rule must yield where a juror has expressed racial animus, because race is a familiar and recurring evil that demands extraordinary procedural protection. 137 SCT at 868. If even a single juror's racial bias requires that ordinary rules give way, then fortiori, the racial bias of a lead investigator who, unlike a jury, is not constrained by the rules of evidence, who alone determines what evidence is collected, which witnesses are accredited, and what facts of the prosecution and the jury can even see. Ever see. must trigger the same departure from ordinary procedural defaults. The Supreme Court reinforced this principle in Buck v. Davis, which is a very important case. I wish a lot of people go look that up. Where it held that the appearance of racial bias in even a single phase of a capital proceeding required relief, observing that some toxins can be deadly in small doses when race is involved. Whereas here, racial bias inflicted not a single phase, but the foundational investigative phase that preceded every warrant, every witness statement, and every fact placed before the grand jury. The structural error framework of Vasquez v. Hillary. And Buck requires dismissal without any showing of particularized prejudice. I'm glad that we're here. So I want to bring up a big argument that's happening in the Carmelo Anthony case. And I also want to bring up jury of peers. You know what jury of peers is. You've been doing this for a minute, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about the Carmelo Anthony case, I'm only using that because that's a pretty hot topic that just recently died down a little bit because
Will's been covering it for the last however many weeks. He's been
year. But there was a point within the jury selection process where a potential juror who happens to be a black woman, I think it was 3 of them, they were asked the question, can you be impartial? And the answer was no, I cannot be impartial. I do not feel comfortable putting a young black boy in jail or putting him in prison. Cool. Then thank you for coming down. We're dismissing you. That has nothing to do with race. That has everything to do with impartiality. And the same thing should go, or at least by the Supreme Court standard, it should go that way when it comes to investigative works. If you have a bias towards a person, then how can we believe anything from your investigation? Because you're naturally just drumming things up because you don't like their skin color. So that's just a little bit of a breakdown for y'all.
Facts.
All right. A person who refers to black people as the N-word, as animals who all commit crimes, who deserve to be in cages and enslaved, who objectifies them, refers to them as it, if you see a nigger, kill it, and believes they should all die, is not capable of conducting a fair investigation into King's case. Proctor's own words reveal his explicit intentional bias, and he held those beliefs while he was investigating the King case. That's a fact. If you're naturally racist towards me, how the fuck you gonna be able to investigate me?
Right.
All right. It appears from a review of the evidence that Proctor followed up on and credited the accounts of white witnesses. Wow. While disregarding the accounts of black witnesses. Okay. A further evidentiary hearing is necessary to flesh out this intentional bias and racism. It is very possible that Proctor did this intentionally. Because of his explicit bias, even if his court finds that Proctor's actions in the King case were not the result of intentional explicit bias, Proctor was undoubtedly driven by his implicit bias against black people.
100% agree with that.
Go back up. It appears from a review of the evidence that Proctor followed up on and credited the accounts of white witnesses while disregarding the accounts of black witnesses. Where did this happen at again?
In Milton, Massachusetts.
Milton, Massachusetts. That's where all of this took place.
That's where the King case took place.
What's the percentage of black people out there?
I can't imagine it's very high. Let's check though.
Yeah.
Racial makeup of Milton, MA.
So the reason I asked that question while you looked it up,
70% white, 16% black, 5% Asian.
And where the investigation was taking place at, was it in majority white like environment or neighborhood or something like that, county?
That I couldn't tell you.
Okay, I'm gonna look into
actually
that.
16% black or African American is actually higher than the country's average. So I guess it's more black than typical.
Yeah, it's more black than typical because even down in Frisco, Texas, I think it's like 10.4% black people in Frisco in Collin County. So that had to be something I look into. I mean, it can be a strong argument, but it all depends on more info. I would need more info on that. All right, let's go to the next paragraph. And also,
go ahead.
Also, everybody in chat, we are dual streaming, so I am streaming on my platform. So I see people asking in the chat. But yes, if I appreciate each and every last one of y'all being here, and also thank you for liking the stream. If you did, if you subscribe, great. Perfect. We love it. We like it. But yes, engagement in the chat is what's keeping us moving. So, implicit cognitive bias. All right, that's different. Cognitive bias is an outcome, a byproduct of people's cognitive architecture and of how the brain processes information. Within the justice and legal systems, cognitive bias have been defined as the class of effects through which an individual's pre-existing beliefs, expectations, motives, and situational context influence the collection, perception, and interpretation of evidence during the course of a criminal case. That's a fact. How a black person would look at evidence against a black person versus how a white person would look at evidence against a black person can be argued. So that's a possibility. Really quick, that's his case law. All right, cool. Thank you. The Massachusetts courts have acknowledged how implicit bias can affect everyone's ability to come to fair conclusions. That's true. The courts have published model jury instructions on implicit bias that are read both before and after a jury hears the evidence in the case. There is near consensus among experts based on studies of populations that implicit bias can affect human behavior, including decision making. That's true. So then we have an example. Implicit bias is widespread. Although explicit intentional bias exists, it is not as common and widespread as cognitive implicit bias. Whereas the former is exhibited only by some bad apples who are deliberately and intentionally biased, the latter, cognitive bias, is a ubiquitous phenomenon that impacts everyone due to the top-down nature of human cognition and other aspects of cognitive architecture. That's true. Implicit bias is also harder to detect as it often occurs without conscious awareness of the person who is exhibiting the bias. That is true as well. So I give you an example. I was taught growing up that as a black person, if you're walking down the street and you see a group of people cross the street, I didn't put race on that. I just said a group of people. But also it was taught that as a white person, that if you see black people on the side of a street, you cross the street. That's bias, implicit and cognitive, right? And then also you have some people who don't even know that they even do this, but when they see a particular piece of content, like black people wilding out, dancing and all this, that, and the other, as a black person, I can look at that content and say, man, them niggas is just tripping. They just wilding. They having fun, right? I can see black people rioting, tearing up some shit, and I'd be like, man, them niggas is crazy. But then a person, we're going to use white, for example. A white person.
Michael Proctor. Let's use Michael Proctor.
Michael Proctor would look at the Knicks parade that just happened, how they was tearing up New York. He would say, look at those niggers. Those niggers are fucking despicable. They all need to be hung from a tree. But then the black person can look at it and be like, man, them niggas is wildin', bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's an example of it. Is that pronounced drawer? Drawer? I'm gonna just say drawer. All right. Yeah. Further explains that. Wait, I already read that part. All right. Further explains that bias does not stay confined to a single decision maker. Bias cascades when a bias introduced into one element of the justice system contaminates another. Elements and bias snowballs when biased decisions feed back into and reinforce another, growing in power as they propagate through the system. Drawer, biased and biasing. The lead investigator's racial bias is precisely the kind of upstream contamination that cascades through the entire prosecution into search warrants, witness selection, interviewing, evidence collection, grand jury testimony, and the charging decision. And snowballs as each downstream actor relies on the biased work product of the one before. Here, there can be no claim that Proctor's racist views did not interfere with his investigation of this case as either explicit, intentional bias or implicit cognitive bias. To hold the views about black and brown people that Proctor does and to investigate black and brown communities impartially is an impossibility. That's a fair argument to make. There's no way to separate the taint of Proctor's racist. I can't help laughing at the use of the word taint.
Taint. It's good.
The taint of Proctor's. God damn it. I'm trying not to laugh, y'all. Y'all ain't shit. All right. The taint of Proctor's racist views from the investigation he conducted as the lead investigator in this case. Every decision that Proctor made while investigating the King case was infected by, in some implicit or, in Proctor's case, explicit way, bias against Black people. Proctor's actions are shocking, outrageous, and clearly intolerable. It's a hell of a way to make that, such that King could never have a fair trial where Proctor was the lead investigator. That is actually a strong argument versus how people are trying to make the argument about Carmelo. Go ahead.
Well, that's that's the root of this whole thing, right? Is Rosemary Scapicchio's got a valid point, and Miles King, this murdering, drug dealing piece of shit, actually might get out of jail because of Proctor's very blatantly racist belief system.
So let me make sure I got this right. Miles King is a drug dealer?
Yeah, that's what the feds picked him up for.
Okay. Black man, drug dealer.
He belongs to he's rumored allegedly to be in the gangs down there. I don't remember what gangs they are exactly off the top of my head, but I was reading about it this morning.
So let's paint the story. Black man who's a drug dealer is being investigated by a racist white cop. And there's no way that this racist white cop should be able to lead this investigation because he already hates the black man just for being Black.
Yep.
Even though this black man is a drug dealer and he's dealing poison.
And a murderer.
So he's a drug dealer and a murderer.
And now he's going to be back on the street with the rest of us.
Come on, man. Okay, here, I can say it. I'll say it. Niggas gonna nigga, bro. I don't give a fuck. Fuck George Floyd. George Floyd was a drug addict. He was a fentanyl abuser. He did not die to a knee to the back of his neck. He died from a fentanyl overdose. And if this was about George Floyd, fuck George Floyd. Just that simple. And fuck Miles. You're dealing drugs within the community. You're murdering people. Fuck him. He'd be all right. I said, all right, cool. So,
I love you, bro. I
love you too. All right. As such, the charges against King should be dismissed. Okay. I mean, it's a fair argument to make.
I agree. Yeah. That's the worst part about it. I fucking agree.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have to agree to the fact that I can't have a fair trial knowing that this racist ass fucking cop is leading the investigation. So guess what? Even though I am a murderer and I'm a drug dealer, I didn't get a fair trial. So yeah. All right. King need not prove prejudice to obtain dismissal. However, King has been prejudiced in any event. Okay, your turn.
King need not prove prejudice where the lead investigator harbors deep-seated racial animus, where the racial bias of a member of the prosecution team is as overt and unrelenting as Proctor's. No separate showing of prejudice is required. The Supreme Judicial Court's decision in Commonwealth v. Dew establishes that bigotry of this kind is itself the constitutional injury. The defendant cannot be required to reconstruct after the fact the precise ways in which a deeply racist actor's decisions warped the proceedings. Just over 6 years ago, the SJC wrote an open letter to the members of the judiciary and the bar of the Commonwealth acknowledging the grave and ongoing threat that racism poses to our criminal justice system. Letter from the 7 justices of the Supreme Court, Judicial Court, to the members of the judiciary and the bar, June 3rd, 2020. The letter's called to create in our courtrooms a place where all are truly equal. Echoes longstanding Supreme Court language that racism is fundamentally at odds with any notion of real justice. Wholeheartedly agree. Discrimination on the basis of race is a source of injury to the law as an institution, to the community at large, and to the democratic ideal reflected in the processes of our courts.
I don't like to use the word democratic, but okay.
Well,
democracy died a long time ago. Sorry.
This ain't a democracy, y'all.
It ain't a democracy, especially because you got these fucking liberal Democrats. Anyway, go ahead.
Racial discrimination not only violates our Constitution and the laws enacted under it, but is at war with our basic concepts of a democratic society and a representative government, Smith v. Texas. It is hardly surprising, therefore, to find a myriad of cases in which racism has been at the root of structural error. Vasquez v. Hillary. Racial discrimination in grand jury selection, Commonwealth v. Van Long. Racial bias of juror, Batson, Kentucky. Racial bias in exercising peremptory challenges, Commonwealth v. Soares. The SJC has repeatedly confirmed that racial prejudice is so antithetical
What? Well, hold on.
Antithetical.
Okay.
I got there. To the integrity of the criminal legal system, that even the possibility of racist motivations can constitute structural error. Commonwealth D. Ortega.
So, can I pause right there for just a second?
Yeah.
Even though this case is right now strongly proven that there's definitely racism within this case, I don't think it's a fair argument to say that the system is racist, because it's the people that make up the system. So, although I appreciate the argument, it doesn't mean.
No. Am
I reading that wrong? What does it say?
Yeah, that's not what it's saying. It says the racial prejudice is so antithetical to the integrity of the criminal legal system that even the possibility of racist motivations can constitute structural error. It's basically saying that the integrity of our criminal justice system is so pure that the thought of having racism even remotely involved, it's off-putting. It's disgusting to touch my beautiful legal system. You know what I mean? Get that shit the fuck away from here. We have basically construed this entire system of law to keep that shit out of it.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, but I also can't be. I wouldn't be telling the truth if I wouldn't say that there was definitely policies and laws drawn up specifically that pretty much strengthen the argument about racism. Jim Crow laws.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The 94 crime bill, how black people was disparately put in jails longer than everyone else and all of that. So, but it's a longer
Luckily, we moved on past that, right? Like, luckily, that shit's not around anymore. We don't have.
Well, we trying to.
I can't think of a single law that still has, like nothing would hold up in court anymore. Like even if there was a law that had racism in its writing, like if it ever went to court, it would automatically just get the fuck out of here. So
the biggest thing, we're trying to move past it, but you still have people who's holding on to those past pains.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
I'm just talking the law itself, the legislation itself.
Yeah,
we move past that on the legislation level. I understand there's some personal.
Everyone wants to make it about race when it doesn't have to be about race.
Yeah,
until it's about race, like this one.
Based on Proctor's own text, there is no doubt that Proctor was racially prejudiced. We know of his bias and bigotry as a result of his repeated declarations of hatred against Black people and celebrates the very idea of killing and enslaving Black and brown people. In Commonwealth v. Dew, the court held that counsel's bigotry against persons of the defendant's faith and race, which manifested during counsel's representation of the defendant, deprived the defendant of his right to a fair trial. In Dew, the court found that the defendant had shown a pattern of posts reflecting the intensity of defense counsel's bias, coupled with the record that defense counsel was unable to divorce his animus from his conduct as defense counsel. Although we cannot know with certainty whether defense counsel's actions or inactions during the course of the representation were motivated by anything other than the defendant's best interest. On the record before us, we cannot credibly assume that defense counsel's representation was not affected by his virulent anti-Muslim and racist views. Importantly, we cannot know whether an attorney who did not share the animus that defense counsel harbored for persons of Muslim faith and Black persons would have negotiated a better plea agreement, nor can we know whether defense counsel's other actions were unaffected by his views regarding Black and Muslim individuals. Whereas the record shows was the case here. Counsel harbors a deep-seated animus for persons of the defendant's race or religion. We cannot presume zealous advocacy, nor can we ask the defendant to prove how his counsel's bigotry might have affected the plea deal or otherwise impaired their representation. Especially in view of the record, the defense counsel's bias reared its head in connection with this treatment of the defendant. Basically, what they're saying is, if the lawyer turns out the lawyer's racist, right? So, not in this case, the Dew or whatever. Basically, if the lawyer's racist, how are you going to prove that he represented a Black Muslim the way he's supposed to, the way he's ethically obligated to as a lawyer?
Correct.
And also, how can you know if he couldn't have gotten a better deal and just didn't because he hates your Black Muslim ass? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
It's a valid fucking point. I don't want
to. In other words, yeah.
I don't want my lawyer hating white people with dreads. That's not going to go well for me. I'd rather have somebody that doesn't care what my hair is as a white person.
Correct.
The court further stated that defense counsel did not leave his deep-seated bigotry at the courthouse door. Our confidence that the defendant was afforded a constitutionally fair process is necessarily undermined. The court held that no additional showing of prejudice is required and vacated the defendant's convictions and remanded for a new trial. As Justice Cipher stated in her concurrence, public confidence in the integrity of the criminal justice system is essential to its ability to function. We must be aware of and concerned with the confidence of not just this defendant and not just all Black and Muslim clients represented by defense counsel, but rather all Black persons and members of the Muslim faith in our community, not simply those that have come in contact with the criminal justice system.
Excuse me 1 second before we continue. Lively Cuts, thank you for the PayPal.
Can I actually excuse myself for about 5 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead, do your thing. That gives me enough time to catch up and make sure everyone's good. So we got a few cash apps that I gotta thank some people for. So give me a second while I go through this. And thank you everyone who has contributed to the show. I know that I'm not monetized anymore right now, but I want to say thank you to everyone who has supported the show so far by way of Cash App. We got Rodney, thank you for the Cash App. We got 3Man, thank you for the Cash App. We also have I'll just say DJ, thank you for the Cash App. Greatly appreciate you for supporting the show. Also, I already thanked Lively, but thank you for supporting the show. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We did have a pretty high number, but I guess once we start getting into the minutia of everything, we're going to start having our banter, then people start leaving. So T42S3X been a member for 27 months. Shout out for being a member for 27 months. Good shit. Excellent stream. It has kept my interest. Thanks. Hey, no problem at all whatsoever. Let me get to some of y'all chats. I continue to pray for our leaders. May God shine his light in your darkness. Yeah, well, our leaders have their own agendas, and sometimes those agendas can go out of nowhere. Mary Swampi, thank you for becoming a member. Greatly appreciate you for becoming a member. Heidi says, again, it's ideological subversion through government perpetuated by the alt. Nah, it's still in there, just buried. Remember Winning Realities playlist with Thomas Sowell, Truth About History. Thomas Sowell is a damn good orator, and he's a damn good speaker. I love his historical knowledge and fact that he brings to a lot of conversations. A lot of people don't really like him because they say that he's going against black code or he's not standing on code. My thing is, if me telling the truth makes me non-black, take my black card. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather be known as an American than to be known as a nigga. But that's what y'all niggas like to do. Anyway, Killer Red Duck says you can't help somebody that don't want to be helped. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That is 1,000% true. What else we got in here? And Roy says you need God in your life. In the end, the only one that's about God. Appreciate you and thank you for bringing up God on Sunday. Greatly appreciation. God bless you. What else we got? They could be spending Father's Day with their dads, yet they aren't. Damn. Well, I mean, we are spending Father's Day. We're just having a good discussion about a very important topic that people need to be paying attention to. Thank you for becoming a new sub, Virtual Drawer. Greatly appreciate you, big homie. It's always appreciated whenever I get new subs. Tribalism is the root of the most evil. That is a true fact, and we're seeing a lot of tribalism that's going on with the Carmelo Anthony case. And I'm gonna take this little bit of time to shill a little bit. A lot of people are really drawing a line in the sand over this whole entire Carmelo Anthony case, and you have a lot of people who's only supporting Carmelo because he's black, and you have a lot of people supporting Carmelo because he's black because they don't want to be seen as racist if they're not supporting their the young black man. But we all seen the tape. We all know what's going on, and he stabbed that boy unjustifiably. You cannot use lethal force against non-lethal force. It's not how it works. But at the same time, that's also Carmelo's fault for not getting on the stand and defending himself. And regardless of what it is that his counsel said to him, it couldn't have been me. I'd have been on that damn stand. I've seen every second of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And I'm telling you right now, I would want a defense attorney like Kyle Rittenhouse's defense attorney. I'm getting on that stand. I'm crying, snot bubbles. I'm pleading to the jury. I'm pleading to the family. I'm being remorseful, all of that. I need to do all of that shit. What else we got in here really quick? Val Kilmer is too lazy to be his own. Damn, that's crazy. Not Val Kilmer. If the real Val Kilmer is actually here, that would be crazy. What else we got? Are you the that's Wendy? I'm more concerned about the innocent people that are locked up because of Proctor. Well, that's a valid point. And that's why all of his previous cases needs to be investigated, because now we need to know if there is people that is in jail or that have went through the system or in the system, existing within the system because of Proctor's racial bias. And because of that, it should be investigated. Now, that would also include cases like Miles, where he's a drug dealer and murderer. But if it was not for Proctor's racism, then we wouldn't even know. All right, cool. You did the filler. So I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom of the chat. All right, let's continue.
While the holding and due focused on defense counsel, the analytical framework that I forgot water. The bigotry creates an actual conflict of interest that cannot be cured by post hoc speculation about its effects. Translates. In this case of first impression to Proctor as the lead investigator. In Commonwealth versus Rodriguez, the SJC expanded the long racial protections to non-traffic investigatory stops, which should extend to the investigations themselves. Badgett and Commonwealth v. Badgett extended due to include relief for defendants where racist social media posts post-dated the attorney's representation of the defendant. 106 Mass, blah, blah, blah. The court reasoned that intense racism and bigotry of the kind shown does not develop overnight, and that overt racist statements during the representation are not required to constitute an actual conflict.
In other words, he's been racist for a long ass time. He didn't just become a racist overnight.
Right. Badgett's reasoning is particularly forceful here because King is not asking the court to draw an inference of contemporaneous bias from later in time conduct. The disclosed Proctor materials span 2013 to 2023, a continuous unbroken record of explicit racial animus that encompasses rather than postdates the entire investigation of King in 2021. Proctor was actively exchanging racist messages while investigating King. On September 2nd, 21, between the homicide and his grand jury testimony, Proctor received a message from a fellow group chat member that going from Cam Newton to Mac Jones is like driving through Mattapan Square and entering Milton.
That's fucking funny.
To which Proctor responded, "That's great and accurate. If post-dated racist conduct supports the Badgett inference, contemporaneous racist conduct establishes the conflict directly." Here, there is no question that Proctor's communications crossed the line from defensible political positions to expressions of extreme racism, at times directed towards defendants he was investigating. Thus, there is no question that Proctor had a conflict of interest, which would render any investigation into King, a black man, fundamentally unfair and its results unreliable. In a rare case like this, where the primary investigating officer's racial bias is so blatant, failing to provide a remedy is pernicious. Not only I kept wanting to say promiscuous. I was like, that's not the word. Not only because it deprives King of rights secured by the 6th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution and Article 12 of the Massachusetts Declaration of Rights, but also because it systemically infects and poisons public confidence in the judicial proceedings, injuring the law as an institution and the community at large. Buck v. Davis.
Unfairness and racial bias can undermine confidence in and respect for the criminal justice system. When confronted with such clear discrimination, putting the burden on the accused to prove prejudice sends the unmistakable message that the criminal legal system tolerates bias and signals that ours is a system of justice for some rather than justice for all. That was Ortega. Any claim by Proctor that he no longer holds these racist beliefs or that those beliefs did not interfere with the investigation in King case must be discounted. Proctor was sending and receiving racist messages while he was investigating the King case. Proctor received a picture from Kevin Foley in WhatsApp that said, "Going from Cam Newton to Mac Jones is like driving through Mattapan Square and entering Milton," to which Proctor responded, "That's great and accurate." Do we got the pictures? Damn it. I would be nice.
No.
All right. Even if this case were to require King to demonstrate prejudice, he has shown it. The due framework recognizes the futility of asking a defendant to reconstruct the precise harm caused by deep-seated racial animus, but the record here also affirmatively demonstrates that Proctor's racism shaped the investigation in concrete, identifiable ways. Proctor's racist views infected the investigation's most basic credibility judgments. After reviewing these messages and pictures and coming to understand the full extent of Proctor's hatred of Black and brown people, statements and omissions made by Proctor in King's case, a Black man's case, now take on a more sinister meaning. Counsel can argue after reviewing Proctor's personal phone that if Proctor was giving conflicting statements by a white person and a Black person, his racism would cause him to disbelieve the Black person every time. That is true. If you are naturally racist, you're going to automatically discredit, discount, or just disregard a Black person's statement if you hate Black people. So you're going to automatically go with the white person's statement, even if you have to fine tune the white person's statement. For example, in this case, Patrol Officer Henry T. Colligan told Proctor that he asked Simmons who shot him, and that Simmons responded, "Mizzy Cash." Yet Finesse Carter and Michael Turner, the two witnesses who are noted to have been with the victim in close proximity, rendering aid, did not hear this conversation. And it appears from the discovery that they were not asked about this conversation. In other words, Proctor credited the white officer without even attempting to corroborate or refute that statement using the observers of two Black witnesses.
Wow.
So he created some shit. While that example is obvious from the circumstances, it is impossible to determine whether there were others, whether Proctor's biases caused him to fail to pursue other leads or avenues of investigation that are now lost and undocumented. King has clearly suffered prejudice at the hands of a lead investigator who thought King and everyone who looked like him was less than human. Every decision Proctor made was filtered through that animus. Moreover, the Commonwealth has informed King that it does not plan to call Proctor at trial. That's weird. If King calls Proctor, Proctor may invoke the Fifth Amendment. That's possible. Even if Proctor does not invoke the Fifth Amendment, the Commonwealth's decision not to call Proctor would shield Proctor from cross-examination, as he would need to be called by King. That's a fact. The impact would not be the same where King is denied a fair trial because of the overt racism of the lead investigator. Resistance to relief for King would severely undermine the integrity of the criminal legal system. As the SJC recently recognized, this must be a time not just of reflection, but of action. Letter from the 7 justices of the Supreme Court, Supreme Judicial Court, to members of the judiciary and the bar. An institution cannot be recommitted to the system, to the systemic change needed to make equality under the law an enduring reality for all. And at the same time, hold that an investigator who dehumanizes Black persons and every other non-white race and non-Christian religion can adequately and impartially investigate a case with a Black defendant. Typically, I would say that you can't prove a person, you can't say a person is racist without proof. But if we have all of this in discovery and he's being this racist, this motherfucker's racist. Right. This motherfucker's racist. All right, the Commonwealth's election not to call Proctor as a witness compounds the prejudice and converts a fact witness problem into a structural one. The Commonwealth proposes to introduce the fruits of Proctor's racist investigations, his warrants, witness statements he took, the evidence he collected, the photo arrays he assembled, through other witnesses who relied on Proctor's work, while keeping Proctor himself off the stand. The result is that the Commonwealth gets the benefit of Proctor's biased investigation without ever exposing Proctor to cross-examination by King. That is precisely the kind of structural manipulation of witness availability that violates due process. Webb v. Texas. That is true. If King is forced to call Proctor in order to expose his bias, and Proctor invokes the Fifth Amendment, the Commonwealth will have effectively immunized its own racist lead investigator from any meaningful cross-examination. An outcome that confronts King with an impossible choice between foregoing impeachment of the investigation and putting on a witness who will assert privilege. Either way, the right to meaningful confrontation guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment in Article 12 is hollowed out. Thus, King has suffered irreparable harm, as he will never be able to paint a full picture for the jury about just how racist and biased the lead investigator of his case was. That's a fair argument. How can I be able to prove that he's racist if I can't question them? I can bring up his evidence. I can bring up the pictures. I can bring up the text messages. I can bring up phone calls, emails, all of that. But I need him to prove his racism. And if he's able to invoke the fifth, what can I do? Okay, dismissal. Yeah, you're screwed. Dismissal is warranted even about prejudice to create a climate adverse to repetition. Even if this court were to find that King has not established prejudice, this court can still dismiss the indictments because Proctor's conduct was egregious, and dismissing King's case would create a climate adverse to repetition. All right. Dismissal with prejudice is a remedy of last resort. Dismissal can occur when there is egregious government misconduct in failing to disclose evidence. The defendant is prejudiced by the late disclosure, and the defendant can show irredeemable harm to the defendant's ability to obtain a fair trial. Under a second principle, when prosecutorial misconduct is egregious, deliberate, and intentional, or results in a violation of constitutional rights, it may give rise to presumptive justice. The only reason to dismiss criminal charges because of non-prejudicial but egregious police misconduct would be to create a climate and adverse to repetition of that misconduct that would not otherwise exist. That's true. The text on Proctor's
phone are vile. And Proctor was not the only police officer participating in the WhatsApp group messaging. Oh, there's more cops involved. Goody. Even now, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office continues to protect Proctor and the horrible messages on his phone. The Commonwealth has had access to the text since at least July of 25 and has failed to take any steps to dismiss the case against King. The message currently being sent is that it is acceptable to be a police officer and to hold beliefs that Black people are animals responsible for all crime, and that the Commonwealth will protect people who hold those beliefs, shield them from accountability by refusing to call them as a witness, and seek protection orders to further shield their racism from the public. This court has the power to dismiss the case against King and to send a message that the courts do not tolerate officers that participate in any criminal investigation where the officer believes that Black people are less than human and that Black people always commit crimes and should be killed and enslaved. King requests that this court dismiss the indictments with prejudice because Proctor's conduct was egregious, and dismissing King's case would create a climate adverse to repetition. King is entitled to an evidentiary hearing under the Equal Protection Clause and Article 1 and 10. The equal protection principles of the 14th Amendment and Articles 1 and 10 prohibit discriminatory application of impartial laws. Commonwealth v. Long. While some selectivity or discretion must be tolerated in criminal law enforcement, that selectivity is permissible only as long as it is not based on an unjustifiable standard such as race, religion, or other arbitrary classification. Long. Selective enforcement occurs when there is discriminatory policing in the investigatory phase of the case. Commonwealth v. Dilworth. To succeed on a selective enforcement claim, the defendant first has the burden of establishing by motion a reasonable inference that the officer's decision was motivated by race or another protected class. Long mess, blah. The defendant must produce evidence from which a reasonable person could infer that the officer discriminated on the basis of the defendant's race. Rodriguez. The courts have found that discriminatory motivation exists when the challenged enforcement decision was motivated at least in part by race. To establish a reasonable inference of racist motivation, the defendant must point to specific facts from the totality of the circumstances. If that inference is established, the defendant is entitled to a hearing where the Commonwealth has the burden of rebutting the inference. If the Commonwealth is not able to rebut the racist inference, the evidence derived from the selective enforcement is suppressed. Here, King has established not just an inference of a racist motivation by Proctor, he has included texts and photographs from Proctor's phone in this very motion that should lead a reasonable person to infer that Proctor's enforcement decisions are almost always motivated at least in part by race. I would agree. Proctor's belief on race can be summed up on his own text messages. In his own, we already read all these.
Yeah, we already read all of them.
But you all can see them. You all can see how vile and disgusting and terrible they are.
Yeah, all of this is just. I mean, I wouldn't expect nothing different from a racist, but it's still fun to read. Especially, it's crazy as hell because knowing that these police officers and that they're utilizing their position, especially when they're policing black people, this is how you really feel. Why are you a police officer? It's crazy. That Detroit shit pissed me off. that Detroit shit pissed me off.
These messages come from a person who, at the time of King's case, had sworn to serve and protect his community and faithfully execute the laws of the Commonwealth. While the typical remedy in a long hearing for discriminatory enforcement is suppression, here, with Proctor's egregious racism, the remedy should be dismissal. This is not a case of statistical data showing potential bias in car stops. What King has shown the court is racism from Proctor that cannot be disputed and did not change over time, and therefore a hearing is required. For the Commonwealth to oppose and for this court to deny an evidentiary hearing on these facts would further shield Proctor from accountability for his egregious misconduct, compounding the very harm this motion seeks to remedy. King's motion should be allowed on basic principles of fairness. Although there appear to be no reported cases addressing whether a defendant's due process rights were violated as a result of a really racially biased lead investigator, courts have found due process violations on grounds of judicial bias. Racism has also been linked to or has been the sole basis for the finding of due process violations. Torture of black defendants to coerce confessions violated due process. Loving v. Virginia. Laws barring interracial marriage violates due process. Bowling v. Sharp. Racial segregation in public schools violated due process. For this court to acknowledge the profound impropriety created by Proctor's investigation of King would be no more than recognizing that this case offends those canons of decency and fairness which express the notions of justice of English-speaking peoples, even toward those charged with the most heinous offenses. Malinsky v. New York. Frankfurter, Jacob. Because while the constitutional violation in this case appears to be one of first impression, due process requires a judgment reconciling the needs both of continuity and of change in a progressive society. Rochin v. California, as demonstrated by the facts of King's case. Today, racial discrimination takes the form more subtle than before, but it is not less real or pernicious. Rose v. Mitchell. Regardless of King's constitutional claims, common principles may provide even greater protections than either the state or the federal constitution require. Berry v. Commonwealth. Common law principles of fairness have supported a wide range of decisions protecting defendants' rights. Commonwealth v. Johnson. Suppression of unreliable eyewitness identification, absent any claim of police misconduct. Berry. Dismissal of indictment on double jeopardy grounds. Commonwealth v. Fontes. Admission of specific acts of violence to support a claim of self-defense. So even if this admission of specific acts, okay. So even if this court were to determine that the prevalence of racism in this case throughout Proctor's investigation was not a violation of King's constitutional rights, common law principles of fairness demand that King's motion to dismiss be allowed. No objective observer could view an investigation in which the lead investigator held such deep-seated racist beliefs as anything approaching fair. To me, Ohio.
One question, really quick. Lagoon wants to hear the text messages. All right, really quick. Before I read these text messages, there's no way I'm about to let Valhalla read these text messages. This is not happening. Lively Cut says, I thought the police academy do a mental health and personality assessment before you graduate the academy. What are they looking for in these assessments? I wouldn't be able to tell you because I never went to police academy.
Well, I actually, so like in the military, right? You got to go through all these like pre-deployment and post-deployment things. And they're trying to figure out if you're messed up in the head a little bit from it. We all were, right? But we also know exactly what we have to say to move this process along and get out of uniform and start drinking beer. You know what I mean? Because that was all it was. That was all it was.
In other words, just lie. Fuck it. Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so I'm trying to eat a cookie real quick. All right, so this is funny. You see a nigger, just kill it. It should be punch a nigger day in Canton today out of retribution. Any shine you see blasted in the face. Detroit should be destroyed along with places like Flint, Michigan. They are breeding grounds for niggers to run wild. I was planning on tying a nigger up and dragging him from my bumper through the streets of Randolph. Eat a dick, Ghana. Let's enslave those niggers. My car needs a cleaning. Oh, great. Now the niggers have a straight pipeline to Canton. Crazy work. Or those text that words. Those was his own words.
Proctor's words, y'all.
Yep. And then these are the words that he received. Hashtag die nigger day. I hate niggers. That was Kevin Foley. Proctor says, go get the nigger and string him up.
Why did I just have Dave Chappelle flash in my head, bro?
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, listen. Go get that.
That Clayton Bigsby skit was so funny.
White power. White power.
So funny, bro.
It was like, oh my God, he's black. Where is he? Where's that nigger? Yeah, go get that nigger. And they was looking confused.
He divorced his wife because she was a
black woman. I'm a nigger lover. I'm distraught. Hey, when that motherfucker took that hood off, and
just went silent.
And when my man's head exploded. When keeping it real goes wrong, I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
What else we got? Rocket nigger. Oh no, I was right here. Go get the nigger and string him up. What kind of asshole stabbed two park rangers? They just want to protect the trees. Rocket nigger. A nigger attached to a rocket flies around stealing stuff like cars, basketballs, fried chicken, and people's legs. Niggers will ride no matter what the outcome is. To which Proctor responded, whatever the course of action is, these niggers will ride. That's the most racist I can make that sound. So yeah, that's the text messages. I'm gonna go back to eating my cookie and drinking my milk. Go ahead. Make sure y'all support the show. Thank you. Y'all come back around now here, right?
God, Lord. I love you so much, Will. Where were we? I forgot to check where we were before I went up there.
Read that.
Read that one because it was crooked and it drove me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Conclusion: for all of the foregoing reasons, as well as the reasons stated in King's original motion to dismiss and his first supplemental motion to dismiss, King requests that this court dismiss the charges against him and in any event grant an evidentiary hearing on his motions to dismiss. To deny an evidentiary hearing on these facts would further shield Proctor and the Commonwealth from accountability for this egregious misconduct. Rosemary Scapiccio. She's a boss, y'all. She is a boss. Blah, blah, blah. Denham, Norfolk. Defense supplemental motion to dismiss incorporated. Trying to figure out. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Virtual juror says, why are we going Southern though? We get a bad rap for it. So a Northern racist and a Southern racist sound exactly the same. I'll give you a grand example. I don't like them niggers. That's Southern. I don't like those niggers. That's Northern. Hate to tell you that, but it's just true. But yeah, there's no different. There's a dialect and there's a tone when it's coming from the South and coming from the North, but racism still is racism. However you look at it. What is these? These just notes?
Yeah, it's. I'm not exactly sure what the hell this is. Supreme Court, blah blah blah. Date stamps. There's a. So this is a list of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Factual background. Factual background. We'll read this, I guess. The Commonwealth secured an arrest warrant for Miles King on July 11, 21. Mr. King turned himself into the Milton police on July 11. King was arraigned in district court and held without bail. 5 months later, on November 19th, a grand jury indicted King on one charge of murder, carrying a firearm without a license and possession of a large capacity firearm. On December 21st, King was arraigned in Norfolk Superior Court and held without bail. On December 22nd, King filed a motion for general discovery. The Commonwealth did not object to any of the requested discovery requests. That's weird. On March 3rd, at a pretrial conference, ADA Lally, gay, represented that discovery was ongoing. Sure it was, bro. On April 11th, this court ordered that Mr. King provides a buccal swab sample of his DNA over objection. On August 29th, ADA Lally, gay, represented to the court that most of the DNA or the bulk of the discovery has been provided to King. ADA Lally is so full of shit. He drug out all the KarenRead discovery for months and months and months and months and months and months.
I can't stand when people do that shit. That's the same thing that happened with
Lally sucks. Lally really sucks.
You remember the case with the lacrosse boys that was accused of doing that to that young girl?
Yeah.
He reminds me of that.
That person, what the hell was her name? It's Grant Smith Ellis's mom. I can't remember her name.
Fuck her too.
But she still flat out says that it wasn't a lie, even though the girl has come forward since and admitted it was a lie. The attorney was like, she doesn't know what she's saying.
The girl came out and said that it was all a lie, but those boys still got kicked out of school. They never got their scholarships back, and they was drugged through the mud for, if I'm not mistaken, like a year or two, right?
2 years.
So,
I think it was about 2 years.
Yeah, no justice for those who got lied on. I've always held the position. If you lie on somebody, especially in court, so you can get them locked up, I think you should do the time that they did, or you should suffer behind your reputation being slandered, just like them, Wendy Murphy. And you should also do whatever time they were supposed to do. That's just my belief on it. I don't like liars. I can't stand liars. That's the most irritating shit in the whole entire world.
I'm not arguing against that thought process. I'd be okay with it.
That's the same thing we was dealing with. That's what this whole argument has been about this whole entire last year about this Carmelo Anthony shit, right? This whole thing of Carmelo Anthony was jumped, that they was beating him down, and all this, that you can clearly watch the video and see it was a push and a stab. Oh, he's a racist. None of that has nothing to do with the fact that he stabbed this boy unjustifiably and he got to go to jail. Simple. So regardless of how they feel about it, it just is what it is. So when people get to add and shit just to try to make it more than what it is, man, to hell with that. Let's deal with what we got. Then we can talk about the extra shit later.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
ADA Lally also represented the court that there was a search warrant for some tower dump information that I haven't received anything back yet. I'm going to double check, sort of circle back around on that. But I think in the next 30 to 60 days, we should have everything. This dude's been in jail since 21.
Oh, you mean like Rick Child, who was in jail for 3 years? Didn't even get to see the inside of goddamn courtroom? Ridiculousness. Alabama says, totally agree. False accusations hurt real victims, especially SA victims. That's the biggest problem that I have. You have actual people who have suffered through time and time again of being victims of SA, and then you got liars like what was Johnny Depp's girl name? The redhead, like Amber Heard's stupid ass. We all knew Amber Heard was full of shit, but the problem was, look at everything that Johnny Depp lost just for us to discover that she was lying, and we all knew she was lying. But you know,
take long to figure it out anyway.
Oh, my dog stepped on a bee. Come on, chick, what are you talking about?
My dog stepped on a bee.
You took a shit in the bed. Like, come on, lady. We literally see bro. Oh, that's cool. That's right. How much more do we got? Because
wow, this thing is what page are we on? It's like 100 and something pages long. Like we ain't even close to getting through this.
So we got to do a part 2.
If you want to go through the whole thing. I don't know exactly how much is in this. But I'm down.
Okay, yeah, because it's almost 4 o'clock and we're about to get ready to eat dinner. She just told me that dinner's on its way. So, all right, we want to come back for part 2.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
it's bear with me a little bit. I've got a crazy couple of weeks coming up. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure how soon we'll be able to get to it. But yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody that has stopped by today. I hope y'all enjoyed today's show. Thank you for all of the contributors. Hey, shout out to David. Thank you for the Cash App. Greatly appreciate. He says we're going back over the text. Thank you. I appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Amazing stream, guys. Look forward to the next one. Yeah, we're gonna be doing more like this. I've already said I'm getting away from the what's the nice way I can say this?
The bullshit.
The EBT community. I'm getting away from the EBT community. And for those of you who don't know what the EBT community is anytime you see some ghetto ratchet ass shit going on in podcasts or on live streams, I'm not about to be a part of that no more. I'm done. Last look, I gotta tell you this before I go. Last night was the definitive I'm done with the EBT shit, right? So last night I was on my man's Trader Truchella channel, right? Well, shout out to Trader Truchella. And my OG was there, the Angry Man. Shout out to the Angry Man, right? And we was up there talking, Peace Murph, me, Udon Go, Poppy Blanco. We was up there having a good conversation, right? And it came about the Carmelo Anthony tape. Now, I've been telling everyone for a whole entire year, you might want to not defend Carmelo, right? So then the argument comes up about the tape again. So I go up there and I pull the tape up. And in the midst of watching this tape, you can clearly see Austin Metcalf push Carmelo Anthony, which I'm a believer. Don't put your hands on people because you don't know what people are going to do. So was Austin Metcalf wrong to push him? Sure, I can accept that. Should he have swung back? Of course. Swing back and beat his ass if you can. But you see on the video, you can clearly see Carmelo Anthony stab him straight in the chest. And then he runs. But he ran immediately right down the stairs. And then because there's been this lie that it was the Ninja Turtles, the Nation of Domination, it was the KKK, it was everybody from Jim Crow, it was the whole entire racist Democratic white South, it was the prison, it was the slave owners. Everybody came to jump Carmelo after he stabbed Austin Metcalf. I'm just like, all right, cool, let's just watch the video. And in the midst of even showing that video, multiple people still on the panel and in the chat was like, well, I still see people jumping him. I said, I'm done.
You're out of your mind.
These are the same people that says Trump is a racist. I just want you to remember that.
Well,
and I'm just like, okay, if Trump's a racist,
everybody's a racist.
Everybody's a racist.
I got nothing. That dude,
Alabama. Go ahead.
Nothing. Never mind.
Yeah, Alabama says, who brings a knife to a track meet? A person who intends to use that knife in case of danger, which I'm not one to tell no one not to defend yourself, but it's how you defend yourself that gets you caught up. And that's why he ended up getting murdered. So even in this case, this is why this case is so interesting because if he's already a racist and he's treating this guy and he's treating this case a very specific kind of way, you in your racism cannot be seen as credible because you're using the system to participate and practice your racism. That's
certainly not impartial.
Absolutely. Nick is in the building. Hey, Nick, what's going on, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, so you can't be impartial if you're a racist. Like even with the Rick Child case, right? The Rick Child case clearly shows that there was definitely impartiality on that jury trial because you had a very diverse group of people. But also the same thing in the Carmelo Anthony trial. You had a group of very diverse people. Well, he didn't have no black people. No, he had some white people, some Asian people, Arab people. It just so happens he didn't have any black people, but that's their fault. Because they said, I can't put a black person in jail. Cool. Thanks for letting us know. So now the crazy thing is that they asked the question, are you a racist? Yes, I'm a racist. Would you feel okay putting a racist in jail? No, I wouldn't be okay putting a racist in jail. Cool. Then you can't be impartial. You got to go. Just as simple.
It's that easy.
But if we acknowledge the 399,466 genders, then, that'd be different. Oh yeah. Bro. Lovely times. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, y'all, Proctor, here's the synopsis for the stream. If you just getting here, Proctor's a big racist piece of shit. Everybody can agree on that. And free Turtle Boy.
He's still in jail?
No, but he's still facing 90 years.
I want to talk to him. I need to have a conversation.
He's a good talk. He's a good talk.
Is he an asshole? Because I'm an asshole. I like other assholes.
Yeah. I mean, he's good. I like him a lot. I've never really had a whole lot of like one-on-one with him, but like I've been on several streams with him, and he's always he's good. He's good.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with him. He has a YouTube page.
Yeah, he's got a big channel.
Is it called Turtle Boy?
Yeah, Turtle Boy Live News. I think Turtle Boy something daily news.
Oh, this guy! I've seen this guy's. I've seen this channel before.
I'm sure he's everywhere. He's defending the First Amendment right now.
Oh, he's a big asshole, but I love him though. I like the way he thinks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation.
No give a F's attached. You know what I mean? He is who he is, and unapologetically so.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with him. These are the type of people who I love to have conversations because they don't give a fuck, they don't give a damn, and at the end of the day, that's just what being American is. I could say whatever I want to say, and that's just life. There's nothing you can do about it. But Dennis here. Okay, cool. All right, bro.
All right, y'all. We're gonna wrap it up. Appreciate y'all spending time with us, and I love you, Will. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. See y'all on the next one. Sorry, I don't have an outro song planned, so y'all are gonna get what can I do as the outro? This one. No, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one either. Which one can perfect outro.